Oh, pushing me right in the camera. All right. I'm gonna try it talking this time. Ditto's got her tail still on camera. Ditto, come here. Ditto tends to sit with me while I crochet. And now she's telling you hello. Oh, don't sit on it. Silly girl. I'm not really sure what to talk about when I'm live. This is kind of my practice run for doing a live stream. I want to do a video daily. Ditto. Nobody wants to see your butt. Once my kids go back to school, this will be the first year that all of them are out of the house. So that'll be a little bit different. And it'll give me something to do. Keep me distracted from the fact that I'm kind of all alone in the house. I mean, I have all the animals, but it'll be the first time I'm not momming somebody, as my kids like to say. I've been a stay-at-home mom, so when all the kids go to school, what am I then? Ditto. Hi. Nobody wants to see you from that angle. You gonna purr? Look out the window. Hi. I know. You sure? Yeah, okay. Oh goodness, how did I mess that up? Go back a couple stitches. I suppose if there's a lot of interest in this, I could do all kinds of yarn projects. My grandma taught me how to crochet when I was little. She taught me how to do a single crochet stitch to make a pot holder, which was basically like just an endless loop. And you would go a straight line and then back over it and then just keep going in a circle until you got whatever length that you can make the ends meet together to make a pot holder. And she never taught me anything else beyond that. So, so anything beyond pot holders that I make are things that I figured out on my own. I can't read crochet patterns. I've tried to learn. My husband bought me the teach yourself to crochet kind of books for Christmas. I can read it. I can look at it. It doesn't make any sense to me. It's like it's in a foreign language. So everything that I do outside of the single stitch pot holders is something that I pretty much just figured this is how it should look, so this is how I'm going to do it. I have made like little hand washcloth things to wash the dishes with. I've made each of the kids a little a bag. For the girls, it was more like a purse. For my younger son, he wanted more like a tote bag to carry his toys, and my older son used it to carry his school stuff last year. So his was kind of more of a tote bag too, but his had a flap over the top with a pocket in it. Um, like I said, every design is something that I just kind of figured it out on my own. And I'm only later finding out that these are actual, like, known stitches. I found this stitch on a YouTube video, and I practiced. I ruined an entire thing of really pretty brown yarn, trying to figure out how to get the where you turn it at the edge. And I made like this weird, instead of a straight, it was all bendy on the edges because I couldn't get it right. But now I made my own scarf that I use when I go out and do barn chores in the winter. This is going to be my fourth blanket now, that I've made in the last year. My first blanket I did in panels. I tried to do like a Four Seasons type blanket. So I did like a variegated blue for the winter panel, and I did a orange and brown kind of color for fall. I think I did variegated purple for spring for the flowers that come up, and variegated green for summer. And then I stitched each of the panels together, and it kind of made this like really long lap quilt. It turned out to fit just right on my side of the bed, so it's like a one-person blanket. Then I did a full-size blanket with like rainbow colors, and I was going to sell it, but my eldest daughter really wants it, so I think I'm going to give it to her for her 18th birthday, which is coming up here before the end of the year. Then I made a blue baby blanket that I just finished earlier this week. It was basically I had some extra yarn and I wanted to use it up. So I used it up, and I got it done in less than 2 weeks. And I thought, oh my gosh, I've never done anything that fast before. So why not try it in pink, since I had some yarn sitting around. And so here I am making a pink baby blanket, even though I don't know anyone who's expecting a baby. I'm not expecting a baby. I just felt like making it. And Ditto is sitting in the window watching the chickens in the yard. If ever you hear weird noises in the background of my videos, especially in the summertime, it's because my windows are open. We do not have air conditioning here. And we have a small homestead, so there are all kinds of critters running around here at any given time. We have, what do we have outside right now, Ditto? Chickens and ducks and geese, a couple of guineas, a couple of turkeys. In the house, we have dogs and cats, and we have a turtle and a snake and some fish. We have rabbits outside too, but we have all kinds of critters. Ditto is actually, she came inside recently. She was born outside to our barn cat, Gypsy. And both of her siblings went missing, which was weird because we've only spent 2 years on the homestead. Before that, we lived in a town, so we never had outside cats. And we got 2 outside cats right away when we moved, and they've never had a problem. So it was a big surprise when 2 of the kittens went missing within a week. So, not knowing why they went missing. I mean, we live on 70 acres. We have a private lake. We're, not exactly in a metropolis area. Nobody's gonna stop to pick them up. But we do have like bald eagles, skunks, raccoons, muskrat, snapping turtles. I mean, almost. Do you want to be on camera too? Come on up. Come on. Good boy. Come on. There we go. Good boy. Moose is my service dog, and he is afraid of Ditto the kitten. And Ditto really likes to torture him by playing with his tail, because she knows that he won't do anything about it. Hi, Moose. Moose was actually a rescue dog. Of course, every time I say his name, he's going to get all excited now. I used to be an admin on one of these Facebook pet groups, and somebody tried to post an ad for a dog with something wrong with its jaw. And one of the other admins had declined it for whatever reason. And I asked for more information just out of curiosity. I used to do rescues, so anytime there's something with special needs or something, it kind of piques my interest. And so I messaged this lady and I said, "Hey, I hear you have, a puppy with something wrong with its mouth. I was just wondering if you could tell me more." And the lady told me that another dog had attacked this puppy and then it had this swollen spot in its mouth. Still eating, still active. She didn't know what was wrong with the puppy, but she didn't want to take it to the vet. So she was giving it away, where she was selling the rest of the litter. She owned both the parents. Mom was a purebred Old English Bulldog, and Dad was a purebred Black Lab. Cute puppies. I mean, I thought they were cute anyway. But I talked to my husband and I said, "Look, I know we had recently put my first service dog to sleep, and we had another dog that I was trying to train in as a service dog, but he was just the wrong personality. He was so rambunctious. And I said, look, it's just a rescue. We've done rescues before. I'll take him in. We'll get him vetted. We'll find him a home. But this lady, if she's not willing to take this dog to the vet after he's been attacked by another dog, someone should step in." My husband agreed. So we went out and picked up this puppy, and the minute she picked him up and put him into my arms, now I don't know about anyone else. When you find the right one, you get that instant like, oh my gosh, this connection is like electric. And I got that. Like the minute she put him into my arms, I almost cried. And I got back into the car and he just clung to me. And I looked at my husband and I said, "He's just a rescue. He's just a rescue. We can't keep him." And we brought him home. And I kept telling myself, "He's just a rescue. We're going to get him fixed up. I can't get attached to him. I have to keep working with this other dog." And we took him, to the vet, and the vet said, "Well, he broke his jaw. That's what you're seeing is the bone is actually mending and it's swelling up." And at this point, it had been left for too long, because it had been broken, and then she wouldn't sell him to me right away. She wouldn't give him to me. Um, she waited a really long time before turning him over, and then I had him for almost a week before I could get him into an appointment. So by the time we got him to the vet, it had been several weeks since the incident, and the vet said we could re-break it to set it so that it would be straight, but that would be more cruel than just leaving it. So we left it, and we gave him, soft food and antibiotics and pain meds and all that. And it did heal most of the way. He still has a lump there, and the canine tooth from the broken spot never grew in. So he's actually missing a tooth on his bottom jaw where the break is. And it's still mounded up enough that that when he pants, it pushes his tongue out the other side of his mouth. But yeah, after several weeks, and finally, I just said, "Look, I don't think things are working out with this dog that we're training. He he's really not suited to being a support dog. For training your own service dog, you need a dog whose personality is focused entirely on the handler. They need to be paying attention to your cues to see when you need help. And this other dog was just, he was excited to meet everybody else. He wanted to know what everybody else was doing, which makes a great family dog, but it does not make a good service dog, at least not for my needs. Um, so after a lot of weighing it with myself, I finally approached my husband and said, you know, I don't think it's working with this other dog, and I know that we bought this other dog for the purpose of training him, but I'd like to find him a new home and keep the puppy instead. And I thought that he was going to be like, "Well, you told me it was a rescue, or confront me on it." And he actually just smiled and said, "I knew he was staying as soon as you got in the car. As soon as you got in the car, that look in your eye, I knew that the connection was there and that he was staying." So we found another home for the other dog where he supposedly was going to be trained as a hunting dog, which is what his breed was. And Moose stayed with us, and he has done beautifully with his training. Unfortunately, he had some hiccups along the way. We had some family issues come up. Our house flooded in 2017. The entire basement was under 18 inches of septic water. We lost literally everything in the basement. The washer, the dryer, our computers, furniture, family heirlooms, um, literally everything. All of our storage, everything was down there. Our TV, our DVD collection, my records, it was all gone. And our insurance paid to put us up in a hotel for 11 weeks while we fought with the cleaning people to get the house livable again. In the 11 weeks that we were stuck in the hotel, I had a lot of issues, and unfortunately, Moose, the normal things that he does to help with my issue weren't helping because I couldn't get out of the situation that was causing the reaction. And whatever button went off in his head, that if he couldn't do the usual things to interrupt and stop the behavior, the problem from getting worse, that he'll, start growling at people or barking at people to get them to go away because having a lot of people around me causes me great amounts of stress. Um, so unfortunately, I have not entirely figured out how to train that out of him. Um, like I said, he's my second service dog. The first one never had a problem, but the first one was never put into that kind of an extreme situation where the thing that they're trained to help you with never goes away for 11 weeks straight. Um, I don't know how she would have handled it. I hope she would have, handled it better. But for Moose, he was very young at the time. He was like, I'd say 75% through his training at that point. So he wasn't even, completely there. He was still in the service dog in training vest because we weren't fully ready to take that on. But I need to work with him some more to get him back out. Um, I mean, he does what he's supposed to do at home. And because I'm at home 99% of the time, and like I said, I don't deal with crowds of people. We don't have a lot of visitors out here. We have biosecurity on the farm anyway. Um, and he loves my mom. So my mom's like the only person who comes to visit, and he loves her. So I haven't really had the opportunity to retrain him at this point. Um, but I do need to get him retrained back into being able to take him out in public for that 1% of the time where I have to go into town to go grocery shopping or school shopping or whatever, where I have an appointment or something. Um, I know with the first one, it was it was like giving me a key to the world, being able to go out on my own and interact with people for the first time in years. Um, so I like that. I kind of miss it, but at the same time, I really love just being at home and not having to deal with people at all. He's also a really amazing service dog for my son, who is he has Asperger's. I mean, we know he has it. We just haven't had him officially diagnosed. I know he has it. I have it. His older siblings have it. There's a genetic component. But when he has a meltdown, he's 5 now. When we were in the hotels, he was 3, and he would have these meltdowns because he's overstimulated, overstressed. He can't handle things. He doesn't know how to cope, and he would start crying, and he would just be unconsolable. And Moose knows the difference between, oh, I'm so mad, I'm having a temper tantrum, and an autistic meltdown. And he would go over to my son and just stand next to him. And my son would start petting him, put his hands on him, and then they would lay down on the floor together. I have so many photos of this. They would lay down, and my son would lay against Moose's chest and put his Moose's arms around either side of him, so it looked like they were hugging while laying on the floor. And Moose would literally stay there for hours. Sometimes my son would fall asleep after a meltdown because meltdowns are exhausting, and Moose wouldn't move until my son got up and would say, "Okay, I'm better now." So he's really been a blessing to our family. I am a big supporter of service dogs for people with disabilities because a properly trained service dog can literally mean a world of difference for somebody. and you shouldn't have to pay tens of thousands of dollars to get one that's professionally trained. You can train one for a lot of things at home. And an emotional support animal is not the same as a service animal. Um, if you have a valid medical condition and your animal is trained to do a specific thing, um, to correct that medical condition, then it is a service animal. If just, oh, I feel better when my dog is with me, that's great, but that's an emotional support animal, and that is not a service animal. Moose is specifically trained to do certain things when he picks up on me or my son starting to get to that stress level where meltdown is imminent. And sometimes he actually catches it before I do. He will notice little tics or behaviors or speech patterns in me that I don't even notice. I don't realize that I'm starting to get upset until he comes up and starts doing what he's trained to do to interrupt the um, the anxiety. And then I go, oh my gosh, I am feeling a little off, and I need to get out of this situation. I need to go sit down. I need to, go out to the car. I need to, you know, whatever I need to do to decompress where I'm going. Um, and it doesn't, like I said, it's Asperger's. So, I mean, it could be that the lights are flickering, or the tag on my son's shirt bothers him, or it, there's something, in my shoe, or there's just too many people, or the background noise is too loud. It doesn't even have to be like something that would really stress somebody out normally. It could be something really mundane. Um, but he has saved us so many times from public meltdowns. Any mother or father or caretaker of an autistic child will know public meltdowns are awful. Um, because not only are you having to deal with this public meltdown, but everybody who sees it doesn't necessarily know that it's an autistic meltdown, and may make comments about, your kid's a brat, or entitled, or um, I had one lady commend me for he was having a meltdown in the checkout lane, and I was holding him so that he wouldn't flop on the floor. This was before we had the service dog. And the lady was like, "Good job sticking, to saying no." Well, it had nothing to do with saying no. He just was having a meltdown. So public meltdowns are not fun for the child, for the caretaker, for anyone around the child and the caretaker, and for somebody where, in my situation, I'm the caretaker and I also have Asperger's. So it's even more difficult because then his meltdown is escalating me towards a meltdown as well. And that makes it that much harder to deal with. Because then you're dealing doubly with it. You're dealing with a child who's already at meltdown, and you're dealing with your own sensitivities to noise and being the center of attention and everything else. Um, so Moose really comes in handy when we are out in public, or he has in the past. I have not, like I said, I have not taken him out in public in a very long time. Just because he did growl at a couple of people, and he did bark at a few people the last time I had him out, and he shouldn't do that. A service dog should never, never growl or bark at somebody. That's not okay at all. And for that, I do need to retrain him. I just have not found a way to do that yet. We are considering taking him on a trip somewhere public. I don't know. I'm a little leery about it. And I hate to put my service dog in a muzzle, but it's not really a muzzle. It's whatever, anti-pull collar, but it also helps keep their mouth more closed so that they can't bark as much. Um, I don't know. I'm torn on it. I know he needs to be retrained, but the idea of going out into public with 5 kids and a partially trained service dog scares me. Oh, Moose. He's over here having a bad dream. You're all right, bud. Oh my goodness, I feel like I'm talking your ear off and there's nobody even in here to listen. Um, what else can I talk about? Wish there was someone pop in here and maybe ask questions or chat for a bit. And I've kind of gone on a this is me and this is my opinion rant. My apologies. Oops. Um, If you're coming here from YouTube, and you found us, great, welcome. We actually have a website, a family website. Where did Ditto go? I think she wandered away. That basically I blog about what I'm doing. It's really more of a public dear diary than anything else. We post photos from around the homestead. I just got a TikTok account. My teenage daughter suggested it. Cool. If you want to follow me on there, I'm that pet lady on TikTok. We have an Instagram too. I believe it's the same name, except there's a period between each of the words. I could be wrong. Otherwise, our website is followingadream.weebly.com. And we do all kinds of fun stuff. We raise rabbits and we have chickens and we have cats and dogs and all kinds of critters. Plus 5 kids, so I mean, there's literally always something going on. Anyway, I know we're on Facebook. I tried a Twitter account, but I don't really get it, so I don't use Twitter. We have a Redbubble account where I sell some of the pictures that I've taken. You can buy merchandise and stuff. Another half an hour already. Well, I suppose it's starting to get a little dark out, and I have some outdoor chores I need to finish up before I can make dinner. Well, I'm hoping to make this a regular thing so that I can, come and crochet and maybe chat with real people instead of just to myself. Um, but yeah, school starts in a couple more weeks, and maybe people can follow along and watch as I finish up some projects or start some new ones or, something like that. Well, thank you for joining me.